Let's start. Okay. So today's our main discussion will be on the power slip characteristics. We had already studied torque slip characteristics and derived many important relations, found out our starting torque, maximum torque equations, relation between starting torque, full load torque, and maximum torque were found out. Okay, and today's lecture will be on, mainly we'll be focusing on power slip characteristics, how that characteristics is drawn, and next we have to solve problems, because in induction motor problems are very important. So we'll go on starting with the topic. So in order to write power slip characteristics, we have to find out what is the, on what factor or how your power is dependent on your slip. So if you calculate your mechanical power, what was our mechanical power we calculated was 1 minus S into PG. Since it is a three-phase induction motor we are studying, we have to multiply with 3. So that is indicated by M. This M term we had already used in previous slides or previous lectures I have shown you. So M was number of stator phases, which is 3, because we are using a three-phase induction motor. And what is PG? I2 square R2 by S. So that PG is replaced by I2 square R2 by S. Hence the formula becomes Mi2 square R2 into 1 minus S by S. Again, while deriving our Thevenin's equivalent circuit, we had also found out your I2 equation. We had replaced the I2 equation over here. So I2 was nothing but VE by the impedance. Okay, since I2 square, so this becomes VE square divided by the impedance of the circuit. This capital X was written as XE plus X2, which we had done earlier. We will be using in problems also. This capital X is XT plus X2. Now, we can draw this characteristics from here only, PM. Okay, from this only we can draw this characteristic. Before going into drawing the characteristics, we'll just find out what is the maximum value of this mechanical power developed. Okay, like we had found out the maximum value of torque, we'll find out the maximum value of power developed now. So again, what we have to apply is maximum power transfer theorem to the circuit. So in maximum power transfer theorem, what will be? A load impedance will be equal to your Thevenin's equivalent impedance. So what is our load impedance? R2 into 1 minus S by S. So R2 into 1 minus S by S. This S will be replaced by SMP, right? Because this is slip at maximum power. Previously, when we are applying maximum power transfer theorem and finding out our maximum torque, this S was replaced by SMP. Now, since we are finding out maximum power, it is SMP. So R2 into 1 minus SMP by SMP into square root of the Thevenin's equivalent resistance, which I had already found out in the previous slide. Just recall it or go through it after the class. You will find this equation was only used over there. X was equal to X2 plus Xc. Okay, Re plus R2, this was X2 plus Xc, that was replaced by capital X. Now from here, what we can do is bring this R2 in the denominator, so the right hand side becomes like this square root term divided by the denominator R2. And if you divide this 1 minus SMP by SMP, first term will be 1 by SMP, SMP by SMP will give you 1, there is a minus sign over here, so minus 1 over here. So 1 by SMP minus 1 is equal to this one. Bring this 1 on the other side, so it will be plus 1. So do the LCM and find out the equation. So this will be root over this term plus R2 by R2. This is 1 by SMP. So what will be SMP? Inverse of this. So SMP will be basically inverse of this. R2 by R2 plus root over Re plus R2 square plus X. So this is the value of slip at which maximum power occurs. Now another term I have found out, because this will need it in while solving problems or otherwise. So that's why I found out from here. From this, what you can write 1 minus SMP by this. If you solve it, this side will be 1 minus SMP by SMP. So 1 minus SMP by SMP is nothing but this term. square root this term divided by r2. So this is my slip, and this term will require somewhere in later slides. So that's why I found out of it. Next, we have to do some calculations. Now, this Pm will be maximum when this S term will be replaced by this SMP. So next step, in order, because we are finding the maximum power, so PMM will be same equation, but this S replaced by SMP. So next equation what we have done is written the same equation of PM. For your understanding, I have written the same equation again, and in the next point what I have done, wherever there is a S I am getting, I am replacing it by SMP. Okay, this S replaced by SMP, brought inside this term MV square R2 into 1 minus SMP by SMP. This is written as a whole. Then there is a S in the denominator associated with R2. That R2S is replaced by SMP. Okay. Next, 1 minus SMP by SMP. This term is replaced by this term. Okay, that's why I have used this term. You could have used SMP over there also, no problem, but calculations would have been little bit bigger. So instead of that, what I have done is use the simplified form 1 minus SMP by SMP, which will be used in the equation. That's why I have used this form over there. You could have replaced this, you could have replaced this SMP by this term, but it would have been a huge equation. So what I did is, for easier derivation, I have replaced 1 minus SMP by SMP as a whole by the square root term by R2. So that is what we have done over here. So 1 minus SMP by SMP is the square root term by that R2, and there will be a denominator R2 over here. Over here also there will be a denominator, it will cancel out. So there is no R2 term over here. Okay, so that's why it cancels out. And then we have an equation. We have an equation like this. So MV square root term, which comes because we are replacing this. Then we have RE plus R2. This R2 into 1 minus SMP by SMP will be replaced by this term when you substitute this one over here. When you substitute this 1 minus SMP by SMP with the previous term, you will get this one over here plus x square. Now in the denominator you have RE plus R2. Suppose this is A, this square root term as B. So this is A plus B whole square. So A square RE plus R2 whole square plus B square plus twice AB. Next step will be this one. So numerator remains same. Numerator C. Next step we have written same over here. In the denominator, RE plus R2 whole square, that is the first term we have written, RE plus R2 whole square. Then what will be the second term? B square. So RE plus R2 whole square plus x square square root whole square. So this square root will go away. Only term which will remain is RE plus R2 whole square. So it is written RE plus R2 whole square. Another term which will be there is x square. So it is written x square over here. There is another term x square over here. So x square is written over here. Okay, and remaining term is twice A into B. Twice A. So what is my A? RE plus R2. Twice into RE plus R2. What is my B? Square root of this term. Twice A into B. So A square plus B square. Let the first x square be B square. This is twice AB. And what are the remaining terms? This is RE plus R2 whole square. Sorry, this is included in B. What is the remaining term? X square over here. So another term x square added over here. So this is a simplified form of this equation. Now, what we will do in the next step is take twice. So, okay, we will just add this to what we will get. This RE plus R2 whole square is 2 times. So we will get twice RE plus R2 whole square. Right? Then there are 2x square. That means we will get 2x square. So we can take 2 common and write in whole RE plus R2 whole square plus x square. And the remaining term twice into this one into square root of this term. So that is what it is written over here. Next, numerator remaining constant. What we have taken common is twice square root of this term. Twice square root of RE plus R2 whole square plus x square. So if you look into the first term, what I have taken square root of RE plus R2 whole square plus X square. So there will be a square root term left from here only. So there will be a square root term left over here in the first term. In the second term, what we have taken common, 2 into square root of this term. So what will be there? RE plus R2. So there will be a term RE plus R2. Now this square root term and the numerator square root term cancels out. So in the numerator remains only mv square. So in the numerator remains only mv square. This square root terms cancels out. That means 2 into square root of this term plus RE plus R. 2 into square root of this term plus RE plus R. So this is the maximum value of mechanical power developed in your induction motor. These formulas you will be requiring while solving problems. That's why we are deriving all these formulas. This is our main formula of your PM. This is our SMP, slip at which maximum power occurs, that is mechanical power occurs. Then this is our maximum value of mechanical power. This you can compare with your torque also. Okay, how it is dependent on how it is related to torque, you can also compare. So that is what I have done in the next slide. Achha, a derivation, up to a derivation, anybody has any problem, you can tell me. This is just simple step by step. If you do the square root term, replace each term and do the simplification. But you have to remember this large equation because this will be used for solving problems. Very important. You'll see how
formula. বলছি যে ডেরিভেশনটা কি পুরো মনে রাখতে হবে না শুধু ফর্মুলাটা মনে রাখলেই হবে?
সেমিস্টার পরীক্ষার জন্য ডেরিভেশন ইম্পর্টেন্ট, কিন্তু অঙ্ক করার জন্য ফর্মুলাটা তো ইম্পর্টেন্ট। ঠিক আছে, সেমিস্টার পরীক্ষাতে আমি কোয়েশ্চেন আই ক্যান আস্ক ইউ দ্যাট derive the maximum power maximum mechanical power developed in induction motor. So you have to write this equation, then you have to write this second point also, then you have to derive this. You have to derive all these things. Means at least 7-8 marks you will get for this question like this. Yes?
Yeah.
The simple comparison what I have done on basis of the equations that we had derived. PMM we have derived just now. I have written the same, copied the equations over here. TEM we had derived it in the last slide or the last class, so I had written it over here. Now over here, if you would observe that TEM was independent of R2. Remember our slides yesterday, we were last class slides, we were checking the dependency on of a torque on your changing in resistance. Maximum torque was coming out to be constant if our resistance was changing, even our rotor resistance was changing. So TEM is independent of your rotor resistance R2. If you recall your RE and X values, RE was dependent on R1, X was dependent on your XM and X1. So there is no dependency on your R2. Whereas PMM, maximum power, will be dependent on your R2. Okay. Or you can think in like this way, P is nothing but power is I square R, so it will be dependent upon your R. Anyhow, it will be dependent upon your R. And slip at maximum torque. Okay, slip at maximum torque, SMT was calculated out to be this one. SMP just now we had calculated out and this came out to be this one. Now, if you check this value and this value, if you see the denominator RE square plus X square, over here there is RE plus X square plus there are additional terms. So if you calculate the denominator, it will be larger than this denominator over here for SMT. Okay, so if your denominator is high, your SMP value will be lower. So SMP is lower than SMT. So if SMT is achieved at suppose 0.05, SMP will be achieved at 0.03. So SMP is smaller than SMT, very important. Okay, so this can come as an MCQ, you can think about it. Which is smaller, SMP or SMT? SMP is smaller than SMT because of this formula. So these 2 points are very important. One is dependency upon your rotor resistance, and how your SMT and SMP, which one is greater or smaller. This is what a comparison can be made between maximum torque and maximum power. Now we'll go into the power slip characteristics, because of which we need the equation of our mechanical power. So mechanical power, a standard equation we have taken. We have not written the maximum value, because maximum value is only at one particular point of slip. So we are drawing the characteristics. So we need the general equation of PM. So this is the first equation. This is the first equation of PM. This equation only I have written over there. This equation I have written over there. Now, there are three regions of study. One is motoring mode, one is generating mode, one is braking mode. So we are talking about induction motor. Our main study is induction as a motoring mode only. So during motoring mode, at starting, what is my slip value? 1, because NR is equal to 0. Slip is equal to NS by NS. That gives me 1. So PM is at starting, when S equal to 1 will give you 0. Alright. So S equal to 1, if you put S equal to 1, 1 minus 1 gives me 0. So PM is equal to 0. So if you go into the motoring region, it's starting from 0. But if you recall your torque, your torque was starting from here. There was a starting torque, TEST. There was a starting torque. Okay, but power is 0, torque is having some value. What does this mean? Can anyone tell me? What does this mean? What happens to the power at starting? At starting means what happens? There is no load, that is NR is equal to 0. That means all the power, that is no load operation. Think about your transformer which you have studied. What happens in no load? All the power that we are supplying to the stator or the primary was not utilized in the secondary. All were appearing as my losses. So basically, whatever power we are giving to the stator during this at the starting point, all are appearing as my rotor ohmic losses. So all are occurring as my rotor ohmic losses. Hence, no power will be developed at the output. So that's why, even though you are having a torque, your power is 0 over here. So that is the reason why my power is 0. That is written over here, and torque is obviously having some value. And it will follow the same characteristics as my value. At low values of slip, it will be linear, reach up to maximum value, and then go as rectangular hyperbola. You can check all this by the previous relations only. And then rectangular hyperbola, but at this point it will be 0. Now what happens in the braking region? In the braking region, what happens? Your slip increases from 1 to 2. This is your braking region. Now if you look into the braking region, if this is greater than 1, slip is greater than 1, what will be the power value? It will come out to be negative. Okay, so if it is greater than 1, it will come out to be negative. So PM will go in the negative direction. So PM goes in the negative direction. Or what happens in braking? If you recall, in plugging, what happens? Power is fed from the motor to the supply. So if power direction changes, obviously my power will be negative. So that's why your power is negative. That is, power is returned back to supply when slip is greater than 1. And lastly, what happens in generating region? We have already studied that this will be, generating region is nothing but the mirror image of this one. What happens to the slip? It becomes negative over here. Now, if you put a negative slip over here, 1 minus of minus, that becomes plus, but there is a S in the denominator. So this term will be plus, but this term will be, S will be negative. So ultimately, this PM will come out to be negative again. So that's why this PM is negative. And at what value, you can also calculate this value. At this point, maximum power occurs during generating region. So at this point, what will be the speed? Or at this point in the motoring region, maximum power occurs. So what will be the speed? So we can calculate this by our formula. We have to calculate NR. What is NR? NS into 1 minus S. Since during this region slip is negative, so 1 minus of minus SMP, because we are finding out maximum value of maximum power. So S has to replace by SMP. So this one minus minus becomes plus SMP. So SMP we had already derived. SMP we had already derived, written equation over here. So write the equation over here. So it can be told that during motoring region or during braking, during generating region, what is the maximum value of, at what speed maximum value of power occurs. So this will be this one during motoring region, generating region, sorry. And during motoring region, the slip is normal. So this is plus. So this will minus, this plus will be replaced by minus sign. So ns into 1 minus this time. So this is the one MCQ that can come for your exam. At what speed your maximum value of power occurs during motoring or generating mode. Take care of your slip during each case. So this is how your power slip characteristic occurs. Only difference is that at the starting power is 0, but at the starting there is a torque. Next, we will go into discussion of problems. Problems are very important of induction motor. I have told you, I am telling you again and again. Previously also I have told you. So we'll discuss the problems according to all the calculated equations we have done. So all the equations that we had used, we'll be using over here and solve problems. Like last day somebody was telling that how those relation of TEM and TST, TEFL and TEM, how to be used in problems. So this is where we'll discuss all this. We'll take many problems and discuss. So in the question you read, 3-phase star connected 400 volt induction motor is given. So always voltage is given in line. So 400 volt is line, and if you calculate your phase voltage, it is 400 by root 3 since it is star connected. If it was delta connected, so VL was equal to VPH is equal to 400 volt. 4-pole induction motor. Okay, so if you recall 4-pole induction motor, I have given a chart for you to remember 2-pole, 4-pole, 6-pole, 8-pole. Remember its synchronous speed always. I think it was 1500 RPM. No need to calculate again and again. So check that, you need to remember that table and write it down directly. Okay, so 4-pole induction motor. From the equivalent circuit, if equivalent circuit is given, you can find out from the equivalent circuit, or if data is given, it can be given like this: R1 value, X1 value, R2 values, X2, then XM, fixed losses. All are referred to stator. All quantities are referred to stator. That means R2 is basically brought on the stator side. Like you remember on your transformer, how you did secondary referred to primary. So secondary was R2, you are bringing on primary, those was called as R2 dash. So this basically 0.12 is your R2 dash, since it is referred to your stator side. Okay. So slip, first thing, all these quantities are given. What are we need to find out? First thing, slip at which maximum torque occurs, maximum torque and corresponding power out. So these are the values given: R1, X1, R2, X2, XM, fixed losses. From here in the question it is given, I have written it down. Then from Thevenin's equivalent circuit, ZE is equal to RE plus JXE. This RE was found out to be this one, and XE was found out to be this one. We had already derived all this. If you forget it, please refer my previous lectures. So what we do is, the next point is all replace this value. What is R1? 0.15. What is XM? 28.5. So 0.15 into 28.5 divided by X1 plus XM. What is X1? 0.45. XM is 28.5. So 0.45 plus 28.5 plus J X1 XM. What is X1? 0.45. What is XM? 28.5. So 0.45 into 28.5 divided by X1 plus XM, that is again 0.45 plus 28.5. You can solve this. So if you solve this, you will get 0.1454 plus J 0.4438. Now if you compare this A plus JB term with this RE plus JXE, we can easily say that RE is equal to 0.1454, which is written over here, and XE is equal to 0.4438, which is written over here. Now next, there was another calculation of VE. So VE, which was written as formula, was V1 xm by x1 plus xm. Now all these are phase values because I have told you all impedances R, X, Z in three-phase network are taken as per phase values. So xm is per phase values. So V1 should also be replaced by per phase value. So 400 is line voltage. Since it is star connected, it will be 400 by root 3. So 400 by root 3 becomes my V1. What is my xm? 28.5. See in the 28.5 in the numerator. What is in the denominator? X1 plus xm. Again the same term over here. So 0.45 plus 28.5. Do this calculation. You will get 227.4 volt. These are all what we require while solving all our problems. That's why we have found out your ZD. We have found out your G. Now, slip at which maximum torque occurs. So this was our condition. R2 by SMT. R2 by S is equal to RE plus JXE plus X2. Now that S was replaced by SMT since we are finding out slip at which maximum torque occurs. Now what is R2 is 0.12. Next point what I have written 0.12. SMT we have to find out, so SMT is kept as it is. What is RE? We had calculated 0.1454 written over here. What is XE? 0.4438. Okay, so 0.4438, there is something wrong over here. So 0.4438. So it will be 0.44. I'll correct it later and send you. So you can understand 0.4438 plus there is x2 term over here. So x2 is 0.45. So 0.44 plus 0.45 gives you 0.89. So that is correctly written over here. Okay, 0.8938. So a plus jb, how can you find out magnitude? Square root of a square plus b square. So 0.1451 plus 0.8938. This 0.8938 should come over here. I'll rectify it and send you the corrected slide. Okay, so if you do the square root over here, you'll get 0.9055. And then from here you can find out SMT. 0.12 divided by this is 0.1326. So this is slip at which maximum torque occurs. The first question solved. Slip at which maximum torque occurs. SMT. Next, what is our TEM value? TEM value we just now wrote in our slide. You can find out. This is our TEM value. MV square by twice omega s into RE plus square root of this term. So this equation only I have written over here and solved it. Okay, this equation only I have written. So KT can be replaced by 3V square by omega s. This is the actual equation. Since we are finding out total torque, so multiplied by 3. So 3 into V square. V already calculated 227.4. So substituting over here 227.4. What is omega s? 2 pi ns by 60. You can think it like that also. You can convert that ns into radian or write it as 4 pi f by p. So 4 pi f by p I have written. You can write 2 pi ns by 60. According to that also same formula will come, no problem. So 4 pi into 50 was our frequency. What was our number of poles? P. And therefore square root of RE square. RE was found out to be 4.1454. X2 plus XC. X2 plus XC just now we had found out 0.8938. So this is 0.8938 square. RE is again 0.1454. Just substituting all, you have to remember this equation. So you are seeing that you have to remember this equation TEM. You have to remember ZE. What is RE XC? You have to remember V. Then only all the solutions can be formed. Without equation, you can't solve your problems. So very important, if you are given to calculate torque, power, efficiency from equivalent circuit, all this formula should be remembered. If apart from equivalent circuit any problem is given, other formulas which are discussed in previous lectures you can see over there. Without equivalent, apart from equivalent circuit we are solving problems also, so those methods are used. These problems are using equivalent circuit. So equivalent circuit means x2, x1, r1, all things will given and all equivalent parameters should be found out. So these formulas are pretty huge over here. So if you substitute all these values over here, you will get 469.68. Calculation you can do, I am expecting you can do. Only how to use your equations and substituting the values I am showing you. Next you can put this in calculator and find out how much it comes. Maximum torque found out. Corresponding power output. So at this torque, what is my power output? So you know that TEM, torque, is given by PM by omega r. We had already done this. PM by omega r, and omega r can be written as omega s into 1 minus s. At which value of slip this TEM occurs? SMT. So that s is now replaced by SMT. So omega s into 1 minus SMT into TEM. So omega s can be written as 4 pi f by p. So 4 pi into 50 by p. So this 4 and 4 cancels out. I can write 50 pi over here. So 50 pi written over here. 1 minus SMT. SMT calculated as 0.1326. You write it 0.1326 over here only. So 0.1326 into 50 pi into 469.68, which is calculated over here. So that comes out to be almost 64 watt. This comes out to be 63.99 and all. So you just calculate those and put it. I have taken approximately 64 watt or 64.2 something, but I have taken approximately 64 watt. Now, what will be the shaft power, because we need to find out output power. So fixed losses was given as 400. So if I subtract the fixed losses from our PM, from a power flow diagram, if you recall, if I subtract my PM, fixed losses from my PM, we'll get our PSH. So 63.6 watt is our shaft power or our output power. So this is how we can solve our problems. Next, rotor current and torque at starting. Now we need to find out current and torque at starting. So I2ST is equal to this one. This also we had derived in our previous slide. This is a general equation, VE divided by RE plus R2 by S plus X2 by XC whole square. And since at starting S equal to 1, so R2 by S is nothing but R2. So we have replaced it by R2 over there. If you see the previous slides also, these equations were already derived. Please go through previous slide. You will find this equation. I2 had been derived. Only we have substituted S over here. If you find out there, it was R2 by S, and at starting S equal to 1, so R2 by 1 becomes R2. Substitute all your values, RE, R2, X2, XC, V, all this we had calculated, and substitute your values, we will get 243.89 ampere. Remember, if you find a J term over here, RE plus R2 whole square plus J, you have to find out magnitude. So what you have to do, square root of A square plus B square. So this is A, this is B. If you also recall your fact, which is always written as R plus JX. So see, this is R plus JX. So R square plus X square. This will be the magnitude, square root of that. This will be obviously the magnitude. So 243.89. Then TEST, what is our power? 3 into I2 square R2 by S into 1 by omega S will be our power, torque at starting. So 3 into I2 square ST, which is already found at 243.89 square. What is my R2? 0.12. What is my slip at starting? 1 into omega S. Omega S is 50 pi. 50 pi written over here. You will get 136.3. Anywhere if you have problem, you tell me. Up to this equations, please don't tell me any problem is there, because this equations already we have derived in previous slide. Please go through your equations which we had already derived. These equations have already been derived. Okay. So next, torque at starting. Okay, torque at starting we had done. Okay, external resistance that has to be inserted in the rotor circuit to provide maximum torque at starting. Okay. So this is our condition for maximum torque, right? if I need to get maximum torque at starting obviously SMT will be 1, so SMT will be replaced by 1, but what we are adding is external resistance. So in the rotor circuit, so R2 plus capital R, let capital R be the external resistance, so R2 plus capital R will be square root of RE square plus XE plus X2 whole square. So this will be my equation for over here. SMT is replaced by 1 since we are talking about starting, and since we are adding external resistance in the rotor circuit, so R2 will be changed by a value capital R. So again find out this value, 0.9055 will get, so R will be 0.9055 minus 0.12, that will give you 0.785. Now this value is obviously referred to your stator side, because in your question it is said all values are referred to stator. So if you bring on the rotor side, what you'll do, you divide it by k square. So 1.2 square is given over here. So 1.2 square is given over here. Stator to rotor, this will be 1. So this will be basically 1.2. Okay, that's why I've used over here. So actual resistance that has to be inserted in the rotor circuit is 0.7855 divided by your 1.2 square. That is your k square. So that gives you 0.545. And at last, what is my maximum internal power developed and corresponding slip? Just now we had calculated our maximum power developed. So PMM. So we'll use this huge formula over here. MV square by twice of this term. So we have used this term MV square by this one, or you can use internal maximum power. One second. Internal power or the maximum power. Okay. Sorry. Achha. This was a maximum power developed at SMT, right? SMP. SMP was a slip that we calculated, and we calculated our maximum power at this point. Okay. But in the question over here, it is given, please don't get confused over here. If it is given maximum power over here, then you would have calculated at that point. You have found out SMP and found out at that point. I think over here, so, which question I'm solving? Sorry. Oh, sorry. I'm solving D na. Internal power developed for slip of 0.4. Here slip is given. Sorry. Here slip is given 0.4, and we have to calculate our internal power, that is PM. So PM formula is this one. PM formula is this one. So we'll use this formula of PM. We'll use this formula of PM. Substitute our slip as 0.04. Substitute our 0.04. So 1 minus 0.04 gives you 0.96 divided by 0.04. R2, RE all are calculated. Substitute over here. What is M3? We already calculated 227.4 whole square. And this when calculated gives you to be 41.7. Okay. So you have to remember all the formula, calculate V, RE, XE, all substitute in the equation. This is what is main thing. All formulas should be known. Now, next, what was our question? Last question, number E, maximum internal power developed and corresponding slip. So now what I was telling, we have to find out PMM and that corresponding slip. So if I find out SMP, you can find out PMM, you can find out SMP, anywhere one you can find out over here. So let us find out SMP, that is given by R2 by R2 plus this term. So over here SMP is equal to R2 by this term. Substitute all R2 RE value. X is nothing but X2 plus XE. So X2 plus XE. So that comes out to be 0.89838. So that from here you can find out SMP 0.114. Now use your PMM formula. This is a general PMM formula over here. So everywhere, see, for you to not get confused, I have written the general formula first. I have written the general formula first. Okay, then I have substituted the equations. So it will be very easy for you to go through the problems. So RE, XE, R2, all values are written and found out 64.758 kilo. This is our maximum internal power developed. Anybody has anything doubt up to this problem? Step by step how to calculate using equivalent circuit, I think everybody has understood. Okay. So we'll jump into our next problem. A three-phase induction motor with a ratio of R2 by X2 is given 0.5. Starting torque is given 25 Newton meter. There is negligible stator impedance as stated and no load current. We have to determine starting torque if the rotor circuit resistance is doubled, and second if it is half. That means once R2 becomes twice R2 and once it becomes R2 by 2. We have to determine what? Starting torque. This is our starting torque equation. Refer my previous class lectures. This is our starting torque equation. So I have taken that equation and written it over here. Okay. No slip value because at starting S is equal to 1. So all R2 by S are R2 only. So there is no slip over here. Now, TST. Stator impedance is neglected. No load current is also neglected. Now, what is RE dependent upon R1? So if RE is dependent on R1, stator impedance is also dependent on R1, so it is neglected. X2 is dependent, XE is dependent on your, if you recall your general equations, X2 and XM. No load current, from your no load current you calculate your XM, right? And in stator impedance you will have X1. So you can neglect your XE because they have said that negligible value of this two, stator impedance and no load current. So XE and RE can be neglected and this denominator can be written as R2 square and X2 square. KT is replaced by 3V1 square by omega S or 3VE square by omega S, whichever term you want to write, you can write it, no problem. TEST is given how much? 25 Newton meter. We have written 25 Newton meter. R2 by X2 is given 0.5. So R2 by X2 is 0.5. So from here you can write down X2 is equal to twice R2. So substitute this twice R2 over here. So this twice R2 whole square gives you 4 R2, right? So 3V1 square by omega S. This is 4 R2 plus 1. That means 5 R2 square. 1 R2 and this R2 cancels out. So this becomes 5 R2 is equal to 25 already we have given in the question. Sorry. So from here we have to find out a value of constant, that is 3V1 square by omega S into R2, that is given by 25 into 5, that is 125, as this constant will be required in solving our problems in later stage. So this constant quantity is 125. Next, now we have to calculate starting torque if the rotor resistance is doubled. Now, if your rotor resistance is doubled, R2 by X2 is equal to 0.5 was our relation. So you multiply both sides with 2. So you'll get twice rotor resistance, 2x2 is equal to 2 into 0.1. So from here you will get again x2 multiplied this side, x2 is equal to twice R2. Substitute this x2 is equal to twice R2 over here, x2 twice R2 whole square. Now this R2 has already been doubled. So this will be doubled over here, twice R2 square. So 3V1 square by 4R2 square plus 4R2 square, right? So 4 plus 4 gives you 8. So 2 divided by 8 gives you 1 by 4. So 1 by 4. And what is the remaining term? 3V1 square by omega S into R2. Already 3V1 square by omega S into R2 is calculated to be 125. Substitute it over here. So it comes out to be this term is 125. So 125 by 4, that gives you 31.25 Newton meter. Now, if it is half, similarly, you calculate x2 in terms of R2. You find out how much it comes. It will come out to be 2R2 only. So this R2 by 2, this is replaced by this one. X2 replaced by 2 is R2. Solve it. Again, you replace this constant by how much? 125 into this term. When you solve it over here, comes out to be 2 by 17. So 14.706. So this is how you approach your solution when this type of problem is given. But what is important, you need to know your general equation. See, if you know this, then only you can derive this, then only you can go into some approximation. Without knowing the main formula, you can't solve the whole problem. This is very important.